Hello soulmates, welcome to another sewing tutorial. If you are new to this channel, you are welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always stopping by. So in today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and also how to sew this beautiful boo gown. So if you're interested, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get started. Welcome guys. So for this tutorial, you'll be needing your Ankara fabric, your plain fabric. So I'm using a doll face satin, your button, your cover button, but because I couldn't get cover button, so I'm using this button that I'll be wrapping with my Ankara. I'll be showing you that in this video as we go forward, and I also made a detailed tutorial on how to go about the wrapping and how to do the finishing. So if you're interested, please let me know. The next thing you will need is a tussle, and that is all about the material needed for this style. So without wasting much time, let's start cutting. So you would have measured the length of your boo dress, then you take away 2 from the measurement. That is for the lower part of the dress because there is a plain material at the lower part. So let's assume your length is 38, so you'll be using 36 for the Ankara fabric. So after measuring the length, you had your sewing allowance at the lower part and at the upper part, so you'll be measuring 37 like that. I hope you get. So after that, at the upper part here, so you measure your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then depending on how long you want your sleeve to be, you measure it. And note also that the sleeve also have a 2 inches plain material, so you deduct that from the sleeve length before you measure at this point. So after you are done with the subtraction and addition, you go ahead and slant this other side by 1.5 just to make a slope at this edge. So after that, you go ahead and measure the opening of your sleeve. So the sleeve has to be wide. Let's assume your opening normally is 10 inches. You make sure you just add extra 2 inches to it. Then you have your sewing allowance. So mine was 10 inches. I added 1.5 sewing allowance, that is half for the joining at the upper part and half for the joining at the side. So at this area now, you measure your hip measurements divided by 4. Then you had east allowance of about 4.5 inches or 5 inches. Then you had your sewing allowance. So I measured my hip measurement divided by 4, my east allowance and the sewing allowance. As you can see, the way I connected this part here, so that is how you reconnect it. So the same thing you have at this bust area, you just measure it down to the end of your dress. So that is the reason why we use our hip measurements divided by 4. If you notice your bust measurement is bigger than your hip measurement, please use your bust measurement divided by 4 for all these measurements. So the aim is just to use the highest part of your measurement. So if it is your bust that is bigger than your hip, let's assume your bust is 40 and your hip is 38, so you'll be using your bust instead. So this is what we have after cutting. So you should have a straight line at the side. So for the neckline, we'll be cutting I'll be using a 3 by 1 inches. That will be for the back, and for the front I'll be adjusting it. And if you want your neckline to be wider, you can just decide to increase the wideness, but this is for the back. Mine is 3 inches wide and 1 inches deep, and you know this is on fold. So the next thing to do is to remove one of these and you cut your front. So after removing one of these, for my front I'll be using 8 inches for my neckline. And you know this is a V neckline, so it has to be very deep, but not so deep, depending on your preference actually. But I use 8 and 8 was enough. So you make a V neckline at this point, then you cut it out. So after cutting it out, this is what we have. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut the design for the neck line. So for the neckline, I'll be using 19 inches. How I got 19 inches was my half length plus just 2 inches. So the half length is 17 and I added 2 inches to it. So for the wideness, it is about 5.5 to 6 inches wide. So I have about 5 inches wide on fold here. So you place it like this, then you first cut out your neckline. So this is my neckline, then you remove it, then you start doing the design. So for the design, what I did was to to go up by 5 inches at this part. Then I slant it like this. So the next thing I did was to make a curve here, but what I did was just to measure what I have at that edge. Then I just continue towards the end of the neckline, kind of. Just follow what I'm doing. I just freestyled at this area. So as you can see what I'm trying to do here. So you just try and freestyle to do what works for you and to try and bring the design to life. If you are watching up to this extent and you haven't liked this video, please like this video. Thank you. So after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. As you can see the design. So if you notice it does not look like what is in the thumbnail, you can just go ahead and adjust yours. I mean, after cutting yours and you notice it's not looking like this, so you can just go ahead and make adjustments to it. But for me, I feel this is okay for what I want. So you just place it on it like this, and this is what it will look like. So the next thing to do now is to go ahead and add facing to this plain material. It needs facing. So after adding facing, I folded ½ inch in at both or at all the edges. Folded ½ inch in so that it can be easy for me to turn to sew. So now you place this neckline like this. As you can see, the right side facing the wrong side of the fabric, the right side of the plain material facing the wrong side of the fabric. Then you first sew the V neckline. Just make sure you sew the V neckline very well so that the V shape can come out. Then after that, you turn this around. You iron the neckline first before turning on, so that you can have a perfect finishing. Then you just pin at the edges that you feel will move. And please note that this edge over here, make sure it is aligning with the midpoint of this dress. And for the tassel, so this is the point where you insert the rope inside, then you pin it down. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and just sew around, like very close to the tip of the fabric. Make sure everything is aligning, because if it is not aligning, it will not look perfect. So the next thing is to go ahead and sew. Then after sewing, this is what it looks like. At the tassel area, make sure you secure that part very well so that it doesn't remove. So for the back, I just went ahead to turn it with a bias tape. Then I'll be joining this upper part by ½ inch. So these are the plain material I cut out. The long two are for the lower part of the dress, while the shorter one are for the sleeve. So you place it like this. Then you sew, so you can add facing in between the plain material so that it can give it structure, like it can make it thick. Then after that, you go ahead and join the sides. You join the sides together, and if you wish to add pockets to your boo-boo, you go ahead and add pockets to it. I added pockets to mine, but I did not show it. So this is what we have after sewing. So the next thing to do is to fix the buttons. Like I said, I couldn't make a cover button in the market, so I have to improvise by just wrapping this button with fabric. So I'll be dropping a detailed video on how I went about that. So this is what I have after fixing my buttons on it, and it looks perfect. It looks really nice and perfect. So this is what it looks like at the edge, and this is the sleeve, and this is the neckline. As you can see, it looks really nice. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if you haven't liked this video, if you haven't commented, please do that now. Please like this video because it helps it get to the right audience. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.